Now, a DNA test has confirmed that the body found in Tsavo National Park does indeed belong to Yebei. The government chemist says that test samples taken from the body showed a 99.9% match. Yebei's family back in Eldoret was already planning a burial for their loved one. And we do have our North Rift reporter, Mercy Kandie, with some of the details. So, Mercy, a rather controversial event finally possibly coming to a close. So what do we know so far?
The family of the late Yebei are currently briefing journalists here in Eldoret town with regard to the recent information released by government pathologists that the body lying at the Voi morgue belongs to their kin, Yebei. Remember that the family had given a 3-day ultimatum that if the government had not released the body, they would travel to Voi to get the body for burial this Saturday. Today morning, we spoke to the lead investigator, John Kariuki, who says that even if the results for the DNA are out, that investigations will continue to ascertain and to inform the country and the family who indeed killed Yebei. Keep it KTN and our subsequent bulletins for more information with regard to this unfolding information. From Eldoret Town, I'm Mercy Kandie.
Mercy Kandie with that story that has garnered national interest. Let's come back to Nairobi, where the public service vehicles operating inside Nairobi Central Business District will now be allowed only 5 minutes at bus terminals to drop off and collect passengers. Now, this is just one of the proposed measures that Nairobi County is planning to adopt in a bid to ease traffic congestion in the city. Handcarts will also be banned in the CBD. And our business reporter, Abby Agina, now joins us by way of telephone with all the updates on this very exciting possibility. Abby, we're talking about the potential of no traffic whatsoever in the CBD, and I know that this is going to come at a cost for the roundabouts.
So actually, it's a very, very critical plan for the Nairobi County government. They are calling it the Nairobi Master Plan Project, which aims at reducing traffic within the CBD. And now just to walk you through some of the key issues that this particular master plan will change Nairobi City is. One of them is the issue talked about where the PSV vehicles will not be allowed to stop at a bus stop for more than 5 minutes. And also, this will basically try to reduce the number of matatus that usually park along the key streets in the Nairobi Business District trying to get passengers. The other key issue that will be coming through for the Nairobi residents is there will be improvement of junctions. They're talking about 21 road junctions that have been identified for improvement along the arterial roads to improve traffic flow. Some of these roads include the Ngong Road, Agun, Skovek, Haile Selassie, and something else that stands out and will totally change how traffic movement happens in Nairobi is the removal of roundabouts, Edith. We're talking about, they are looking at reducing the number of roundabouts by replacing them with something they've called signalized junctions. And ideally, roundabouts account for about 70% of where traffic builds up during rush hours, thereby hindering smooth flow of traffic along the busy stretch. And this particular program, Edith, is expected to be undertaken in the next 12 weeks, which culminates to about 3 months. So the first month, they'll basically be doing the groundwork, which involves traffic signaling, where they're trying to look at what are the traffic bottlenecks within the CBD and some of the key roads that traffic normally builds up. And also on the second month, they'll start replacement and the removal of the roundabout, which they have identified as some of the key areas where traffic normally builds up, Edith. And also on the third month, Edith, they are talking about improving other corridors within the CBD. And ideally, Kenya loses about $1 billion annually out of traffic jams, which involves the man hours that are lost and also the fuel that people lose on the roads, Edith. So it's a very ambitious plan, and let's see how it's going to pan out, Edith.
Okay, so Abby Agina, you've thrown quite a number of shocking statistics there, that 70% of the build-up we see on the roads is due to roundabouts. But my question to you is, Kenyans have been notorious, or they've been known to be rather notorious for not following traffic rules. Is the Nairobi County government going to have anything in place for this?
Yes, they do. They've actually proposed that any person found to be overlapping or even having obstructed traffic, they stand to be fined. They haven't disclosed to us the amounts, but they are talking about hefty figures in regards to people who are notorious on the roads. And also, one of the drastic measures is that someone's driving license can also be suspended once this Nairobi Metropolitan plan comes into fruition, Edith.
Okay, so a very ambitious plan with potentially very ambitious punitive measures as well, as you've mentioned. So how much is this going to cost the Nairobi government and the national government as well, I imagine?
From the statistics we've received from the Cabinet Secretary of Transport and Infrastructure, Engineer Michael Kamau, he puts it at about 400 million shillings, which will be contributed jointly by the national government as well as the county government. And also, it is something critical about this project is that it comes at a time when Nairobi's profile is increasingly under threat, because a lot of conferencing facilities are here in Nairobi, and quite a lot happens here in Nairobi city, where you find tourists coming in for conferencing facilities. They spend hours in traffic, and this is basically reducing the attractiveness and the competitiveness that Nairobi has, and we are losing out to other cities within Africa. So they plan to tackle this particular project, although there are some concerns around the stakeholders in the industry. There were concerns by Simon Kimutai of the Matatu Owners Association, who was basically trying to say that they need to be involved for these projects to work, Edith. And also, as I wound up, Edith, there's also the aspect that the number of cars that are coming in to Nairobi is increasingly growing. We're talking about, currently there are 500,000 vehicles in Nairobi city, which was a figure that has doubled over the years. A few years back ago, there are only about 100,000 vehicles in Nairobi. Now we're talking about 500,000, and the county statistics estimate that about 9,000 cars come into Nairobi every year. So you can see the figures are quite telling, Edith.
Wow. So Abi Agina, speaking of this ambitious plan that will hopefully rid those 5,000 cars of any more time on the road, when did you say this is set to kick off? I know you did say that it was going to be in phases. So very quickly as we wrap up.
So the timelines they're looking at is that by this month of March, this is when they will do the groundwork, and beginning of April, that's when residents can start experiencing the roadworks being done, especially at roundabout areas. So we are looking at the actual construction works are likely to take place from April, Edith.
Okay, well, thank you very much, Abi Agina, giving us potentially good news that in about 8 weeks you'll be able to feel easier congestion on the road. Rather, the congestion will ease as you are on the road. Let's have a look at what's happening in Wajir now. And Eldas Member of Parliament Aidan Kainan says leaders from the constituency will sue the Kenya National Examinations Council over the cancellation of KCSE results for the Eldas Boys Secondary School. Kainan says leaders will seek legal redress to compel the Examinations Council to explain why the results for the Eldas Boys Secondary School class of 2014 were cancelled and students awarded a score of Y on the Islamic religious subject.
It is traumatizing, and it is inhuman, and by now, the Kenya National Examination Council actually should have shared with the public, the parents, the teachers, the students, and the public, the reasons that led to the cancellation of the exams on a subject that we feel, you know, the assumption actually down there is if you are doing IRE, it's one of the subjects that students use actually to post their grades. Now, when you are told the same subject, you didn't do well, and the result is being withheld, we feel this is something that the Kenya National Examination Council actually needs to go out of its way and explain to the public. So what we have decided as leaders is to seek legal redress, because Kenya National Examination Council is also accountable to the oversight mandate of other institutions, including the court. So we decided to seek the assistance of the court to compel the Kenya National Examination Council to make the facts fair, to explain, so that the students, the parents, the public are persuaded that the cancellation of the entire results of the last Form 4 batch of Eldas Boys Secondary School actually was either as a result of human error from the students, from other players, or as a result of part of the inefficiencies and the national justification.
Elsewhere, the Central Organization of Trade Unions, or KOTU, the Kenya National Union of Teachers, and the Kenya Union of Post-Primary Education Teachers want the government to employ more teachers. The union leaders who were attending the first opening of the International Labour Organization Conference say that adding more teachers is the only way to boost the quality of education in Kenya.
We've been on strike throughout because of failure to respect tripartite engagements. And this is a sad scenario. As a country, we are talking about a shortage of 100,000 teachers. And this indeed is a very grave matter. If we have children in the classroom and we are expected to teach reasonable class sizes that are recommended by the UNESCO, in a standard 1 classroom, really it's inhuman to teach 100 students in every learning session or more.
We have senior respected civil servants at State House, Joseph Kinyua. He should be able to advise His Excellency the President that you have got to work with the trade unions. Because I and Sosion, if we say no, it will be no. No amount of pressure will make any government go anywhere.
It is laughable that very senior government officials to the level of the Deputy President and the Majority Leader of Parliament can go and issue ultimatum on a service which is supposed to be provided in a very safe environment. They are aware that even the security agencies in northern Kenya are not safe. They are aware that the situation is very fluid as currently, because the leaders of that region do not want to dialogue with the whole issue. The issue is bigger than what the threats are all about. What we are saying is that as much as there is insecurity in northern Kenya, it does not mean that other parts of the country are not insecure. But so long as there is an understanding that this issue is being addressed in a more human manner, then I don't see teachers going back to northern Kenya.
Away from education matters to a social issue, the body of a woman was on Monday morning found at Makingali Primary School, and that's in Taita Taveta County. Teachers and students found the body dumped behind one of their classes after following traces of blood which led them to the body. The teachers who viewed the body say that the woman had a knife wound on her neck with indications that she may have been sexually abused. The school's watchman says he did not hear any alarming cries during his watch. However, parents are now raising concern of the potential psychological trauma that the incident could have on their children. The body was taken to Moi District Mortuary pending investigations.
Mwili ulikuwa chini na ni kama alikuwa amedungwa kisu kwa shingo. Na kulikuwa na damu nyingi ambayo ilikuwa hapo.
Na mtu ameuliwa na ni msichana, amerepiwa, akauliwa vile tunaona kwa macho yetu. Na kulikuwa na alama kwenye shingo kama amedungwa kisu.
Tufanye maombi katika hii shule. Kwa sababu ya masibu mtoto ameona amekimbia karudi nyumbani akaja kaniambia mama, yale nimeona shuleni hata shule siendi.
Now, as the rest of the world celebrated International Women's Day, at the heart of the battle zone, the African Union Mission to Somalia, or AMISOM, held a special ceremony to recognize female peacekeepers. The special representative of the African Union Commission for Somalia, Ambassador Maman Sidiku, confirmed the AU's commitment towards facilitating female peacekeepers to execute their mandate. Women groups at the ceremony spoke of the importance of involving women in peacekeeping efforts in areas with a greater need for conflict resolution, such as Somalia.
The African Union Commission recognizes that peace is inextricably linked with equality between men and women. Therefore, full involvement of women in all efforts for the prevention and resolution of conflicts is essential for the maintenance and promotion of peace and security in Somalia.
Today marks a very important day for women around the world and for the Somali women as we commemorate for the International Women's Day, of which we need to raise awareness of our community toward gender equality and women empowerment.
We are committed to furthering the AMISOM mandate to protect civilians in Somalia, to make Somalia a safer and secure environment, and also to assist, make it a conducive environment for the provision of humanitarian assistance to the Somali population.
Welcome back to KTN News Desk. Let's have a look at the business. And Coca-Cola has facilitated 500 women from Nairobi slums to start small businesses as part of its 5BY20 global commitment to empower 5 billion women entrepreneurs across the company's value chain by the year 2020. The firm has provided free business skills training and an icebox to each of the women to set up Coca-Cola outlets. The women were drawn from various slums in Nairobi, and speaking during the event to hand over the iceboxes to the women who had completed the business skills training, Coca-Cola Africa Foundation President Dr. Susan Boya Kidero said women around the world are already pillars of the business system. As part of the beverage company's goals, financial inclusion, especially for women, is key to unlocking economic growth. The women who received business skills training and iceboxes are volunteers at Child Rock Initiative, an informal school for disadvantaged children in Mukuru Fuatanyayo slums.
We have empowered 70,000 women through this program in various ways, much of it through the retail option that we've just seen, where we've given women coolers to enable them to start their own small Coca-Cola business. But we've also done business skills training, again with our partners at Nairobi Bottlers. And we bring women together, as you've seen today, so that they can have an opportunity to network, to learn from each other, and even for those women who have more experience in business, to mentor each other.
My name is Edith Kimani. It's now time to wrap up this edition of KTN News Desk, but not before we give you your Did You Know fact. Did you know that pimps buy jewelry from pawn shops? Why, you ask? Well, if you get arrested in America for pandering, the police officers will take your cash away because it was obtained illegally, but they don't confiscate your jewelry. So the pimps take that jewelry, they sell it back to the pawn shops, and that's how they're able to pay off their bail. It will never help you, but you can only find it only on KTN News Desk. My name is Edith Kimani. Good afternoon.